Let us not forget everything that happens. It's by the will of Allah. Holy will. It's time to unite and stand, and we will be the best amongst men. It's not time to be extreme or duty unthinkable, but to stand together as one. Tune into Sunnah followers, streaming every day, various platforms. Trust me, you'll find a way. Sunnah followers. Another Sunnah Followers exclusive, Not One of Us, written by Sheikh Muhammad S. Adli, broken down and brought to you by host lailanasheeba. Join us every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, right here on Sunnah Followers.
Alhamdulillah, wa salat, wa salamallah, wa rasulullah. I want to welcome everybody to our Hadith class. And this is the class where we're studying from the book entitled Not One of Us. Not One of Us. And this is the book written by Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Adli. Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Adli. And the hadiths here are not saying that you're a kafir or you're an unbeliever, but what they are actions that are so bad for us to indulge in as Muslims, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying that the behavior is so bad that it's not what he came with. You're not like him. You're not like us. You're not on the road to being like us unless you stop that behavior. And I hope that's clear. And before I go on with the class, one of the brothers here asked me a question and I want to answer it. I think he's on so he can get his answer now. He was saying that while he was at the mosque, one of the brothers told him, and these brothers supposed to be Salafi, you know, they need to stop all that. But he said one of the brothers told him that a woman drank urine from the Prophet Muhammad. Astaghfirullah. He said that there's a hadith that a woman drank the Prophet Muhammad's urine. And because she drank the Prophet Muhammad's urine, the Prophet said she will never touch the hellfire. That is the most filthiest, disgusting thing that you could ever hear. Okay? That hadith is not authentic. I've never even heard a lie like that before. You know, first of all, it is forbidden. I repeat, it's forbidden for us to go around drinking the urine of other humans and eating the feces of other humans. The urine and the feces of the animals are different. But we cannot go around drinking urine and eating feces of other humans. This is disgusting. The Prophet Muhammad would never urinate in a glass and give it to a woman to drink. This is disgusting. And it just goes to show how twisted a nation we are. And it also goes to show why Allah is punishing us as Muslims. We sit around holding these study groups like I was talking about earlier. This is another example of be careful of going to the mosque in these study groups. If the study group is not led by a bona fide, qualified person of knowledge, don't sit in that company. Remember the hadith we went over in the verse of the Quran that we went over 2 days ago. Allah says, do not sit in the company of people who speak badly, who lie on the Prophet, lie on his companions, or lie on Allah. You get up and you say, to you be your deeds and to me be mine, and you leave. You know, why would the Prophet Muhammad urinate in a glass and give it to a person to drink anyway? That's bad manners. That's nastiness. And why would he do it to a woman? This is where I'm talking about these bad idea, this ideology about women. You brothers are sick. First of all, you go around telling women that Allah made a mistake by making them beautiful. So they got to walk around looking like a cyclops with their faces covered. That's not Islam. Then you tell them that Allah made another mistake by not telling them that they can't wear colors. So you tell them to dress looking like vagabond women. And now then you go further and tell them that even though Allah said that they can't pray on their periods, now you're telling them, oh, yes, you can. If it's over 5 days, you go ahead and pray on your period. Allah made another mistake, which is another lie. And now you're going around teaching that the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, urinated in a bowl and gave it to a woman to drink. Are you out your filthy mind? One of the signs of the last hour, and I'm going to do that class because we're almost at the end of this book. I'm going to do the signs of the last hour again, and you're going to see that's one of the signs of the last hour. And it's nearing because true knowledge of Islam will disappear and it will be replaced with ignorance, with fatwa, with lies. Women will be stripped of all the dignity that Allah gave them, to the point where the women will be doing Hajj and walking around the Kaaba butt naked, because they'll be reduced to the level of a dog again. And now you're going to make up a hadith that says our beloved Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, urinated in a bowl and made a woman drink it. And because she drank it, she ain't going to hell. Well, I'm here to tell you, try that with your wife. You make your wife drink your urine, you going to, boy, let me be your wife. Make me your wife for 5 seconds. I'll show you what'll happen if you try to make a woman drink your urine. It was licking the pus. Hey, Amina Fresno, do you hear this? Amina Fresno. It started off with licking pus and prostrating. Now it's drinking urine. Your urine.
What?
Yes. The email I just got.
Talking about in 60s, you talking about on them pages I told you about? What you talking about?
Girl, no, one of the brothers just sent me an email. He said he was just at a study in a Salafi mosque, so-called Salafi mosque. He just sent the question, and the brother was teaching a hadith class. And he just taught them that the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, urinated in a bowl and gave it to a woman to drink, and she drank it. And because she drank his urine, the Prophet said she'll never go to hell. That is the most filthiest lie I ever heard in my life on the Prophet. And that shows, again, this is another example as to how these fanatical men want to tear you women down to the level of a dog or less than that. Where now they're going to tell you lick pus, pray to them, and drink their urine. It's pathetic. Well, the brother said in his email, he walked out. He knew that wasn't true. And that's what you guys need to do. That's why I was talking about earlier today. We have to be very careful when we go to the mosque, to these so-called study groups. Study groups. Who's the person that you studying with? You cannot teach yourself Islam. You have to learn from the bona fide, qualified people of knowledge. If that person is not a person of knowledge, you don't sit in his circle. Because Allah says, don't sit in this company of people who lie on me, lie on my prophet, and lie on those companions. Wouldn't no female companion have drank no urine if anybody asked her to anyway? Those women were warriors. They'd have took their sword and chopped it off. I mean, come on, people. That's just disgusting. Kareem Abu Zaid, I hope you hear me. These are the brothers of this nation. You see why they coming to me now? Because that's what they're learning in their massages. And calling themselves Salafi. How dare you call yourself a Salafi with some filth like that? All right, so there's your answer, brother. That's disgusting. And no, of course, the prophet would never have done nothing like that. All right, so again, this is why I tell you all, be careful. Be very, very careful who y'all listen to, who y'all take your knowledge of Islam from. You know, an intelligent person would do like I do. Even though I have studied all the sitta, and I know what hadiths are authentic, and I know which ones are not, I still basically stick to Bukhari and Muslim when I'm dealing with you guys, because 80% of the knowledge of Islam can be found in Sahih Bukhari alone. And you can get the other 20% from out of Muslim. You know, and I know those hadiths. And I know their meanings. I've studied them by true scholars of hadith. But even myself, when I'm teaching you all, I make sure that I try to gather the hadiths from Bukhari and Muslim, because those are not questionable at all. And I don't want any of you to get into no debate with these crazy people who think they know the deen when they don't even know that the Prophet Muhammad would have never urinated in a bowl and made a woman drink it. Are you crazy? So the simple fact that these people are teaching from books that most of the information, and by the way, the other sets of hadith, most of the information in them are not authentic. Let me give you an example. Abu Dawood, 65% of the hadiths in Abu Dawood are not authentic. Tirmidhi, 65% of the hadiths in Tirmidhi are not authentic. So you have to be careful when you're reading those other books. Okay? So if it's not your imam who's a bona fide, qualified person to teach, that's doing a class in your community, don't go to it. If it's not somebody who's got the proper credentials to show that they know what they're talking about, don't participate unless they're using Bukhari or Muslim. Everybody understand that? Because that's one of the signs of faith. It's supposed to make each and every one of us angry when we hear somebody lie on our Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. All right. Okay, so let's put the hadith up on the screen for our class tonight. And for the brother that asked that question, there's your answer. Oh, subhanallah. Disgusting. Just plain disgusting. Ugh. Oh, and the sound. All right, here we go. Let me first share to the people on Zoom. All right. I tell you, we got these fanatical, radical people who are borderline terrorists. Y'all got to stay away from them. It's sad. It's a bad time. That's why Allah sent all this war. These are some terrible times. Oh, yeah. Okay, here's the hadith. Let me set it up here for you all for us to look at. Inshallah. Okay, this is the book that we're studying from. Oh, how can I move this? And all of the hadiths that Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Atli put in his books are authentic. And even with his hadiths, most of them are Bukhari and Muslim. But the ones that are not, he puts down, the grade of them and who graded them. So these hadiths are all authentic. And this is the book right here, Not One of Us. And that's also another reason why I use his books for this website. Part of our curriculum. Our curriculum here at Sunnah Followers will, when it comes to the Hadith books, will include Sheikh Adley's books, because his hadiths that he uses are authentic. Okay, he wouldn't make that stupid mistake, of putting some crazy stuff like that in a book. Okay, so that's how the book looks, and let's look at the hadith for tonight. And this hadith is narrated by Ibn Amir. He said that the Prophet, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that he went to the Prophet, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and he said to him, "O Prophet of Allah, you send us out and we come to people who do not offer us any hospitality. So what is your opinion on this?" And I'm going to tell you why he asked him this. Remember, the Prophet Muhammad was sent to teach us good manners. And by teaching us good manners, he taught us Islam. And like I tell you guys, the Arabs were a very barbaric people. They were warriors, just like the Vikings. Okay, they used to fight all the time. They had a lot of tribal beefs with each other. Okay, and they would be rude. They didn't have good manners. So here, this companion told the Prophet, "You send us out to give dawah." He was talking about dawah, to teach the people and to call them to Allah. But when we go to them, they don't offer us any hospitality. So that kind of makes it hard. What do you think about that? And that's when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you come to people who order for you what is fitting for a guest, accept it. But if they don't offer you anything, then take from them what is fitting for them to give to a guest. In other words, you teach them. You can teach them. That's what Islam is about. That's what dawah is about. Dawah is about showing the people through your actions. Because just as Islam began as something strange, the Prophet Muhammad said it will end the same way it began, strange. And we see that happening now. When you listen to lectures where men are telling you that the Prophet made a woman drink his urine, and you got men telling you that you're supposed to make your wife lick the pus off you and worship you, and now they saying you make her drink your urine too? Islam is going back to being strange as it was in the beginning. So the Prophet taught the people manners. He taught us how to respect each other, how to live amongst each other as brothers and sisters in faith, setting aside that racial crap and that social status crap. And he also taught that women are human too. You know, women are to be treated with love and dignity and respect, just like men. When I did the story of the heroines of Islam, you see that the women were right there, side by side, fighting with the men on the battlefield. The women were right there when the men abandoned the Prophet and left him alone at Uhud. Who was it that picked up their arms and defended him? It was the women. They threw down their water bags. They reached in their girdles and pulled out their swords and their knives, and they surrounded the Prophet and started slashing anyone that came near. So that shows that women are not dogs. The Prophet taught the men to respect the women, to treat them with dignity, not to go around urinating on them and making them drink their urine. That's just disgusting. So as you can see with this hadith, is another example of the prophet teaching manners. If you come to people who do offer you hospitality, accept it. But if they don't offer you hospitality, take whatever they're offering you and make the best and the most of that. And then show them when someone comes around, you offer them what you have as a way of teaching them hospitality. And what's the source of this hadith? Sahih Bukhari. You see how Sheikh Atlee rolls? Sheikh Atlee rolls the same way lailanasheeba rolls. The same way Kareem Abu Zaid rolls. The same way Dr. Ibrahim Daramali rolls. We will stick with the most authentic so as to shut the people down, so as to take away any doubts, any questionable doubts from out of your mind. Why would someone teach from a book whereas 65% of the hadiths are not authentic? That's an idiot who would do that. And he is no scholar of the hadith. Subhanallah. So this is a wonderful hadith teaching us that as Muslims, we should be hospitable to our guest. There's also another hadith in the same book, Sahih Bukhari, where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, your guest, the guest has rights over you. If a person comes to your home, they have the right for you to provide hospitality to them for 3 days. For 3 days. After that, they can leave. And if they don't leave, then you're not obligated to provide them any more hospitality. That's another hadith. So it shows again that our religion is not just a religion, it's a culture. It's a way of life. It was completed and perfected for us by Allah. The Prophet Muhammad taught us how to handle ourselves in all situations, even as a traveler, even as a guest, even as a person who is being hospitable to a guest. The thing is, we just have to learn our religion from the proper people. Now, let's look at the lessons. Number one, a Muslim should always honor their guests. Also, honoring your guests shows how strong your faith is, whether you're a good Muslim or not. Now, let me talk a little bit more about this hadith. And I really like how Sheikh Atlee added this. Now, this hadith is authentic. What's the source? Sahih Bukhari. But some of the scholars, there are a few, not that many. There are a few scholars of hadith that say the obligation to entertain your guests was abrogated to just be a recommendation instead. I like how he included this. In fact, he goes on to say that Imam Ahmed, he said that this hadith refers to people in the desert. If you're living in the desert and a person comes, as opposed to living in a town, okay? But other scholars also say that it is specific to people and employees sent by the government. So if the government is sending people, for example, to collect the zakat, then you should offer them some hospitality. Okay? That's what some of the scholars say. That is talking about people who the government sends to collect zakat or to do whatever the government, take a census report or whatever. Imam Ahmed said that this only applies if you are going to the desert or to the country. You're going to the country where, you can't find a hotel. You're living out in the country, then the people are obligated to put you up. You know, that's what Imam Ahmed says. But the bottom line, you know, we all should, you know, be hospitable to the guest. Like Sheikh Morsi told one of my students here, you know, if somebody come to your house, offer them a bottle of water and tell them have a good day and keep it going. That's all. That was being hospitable. You know, rather than having the people impose on you all the time. You know, I'll offer you a bottle of water and send you on your way because I got things to do. You know, I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing. Stop teaching my class because you came to visit me. No, here's a bottle of water. Goodbye. Have a good day tomorrow. So it's a wonderful hadith that basically just tells us what we talked about in our 6 o'clock class. You know, show some brotherly love, basically. Show some brotherly love, you know, to your brothers and sisters in Islam.
Oh yeah, and don't forget to join us in the 24-hour Zoom room for behind-the-scenes access.